to the next level.
Hello, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Coach Tiffany Parra, editor in chief of Phoenix Fitness Fanatics magazine, elevating your mind, body, and spirit. Today is our Authors Network Spotlight, and this is a special Authors Network Spotlight because we really enjoy when we get to bring on previous people that you may have seen before. This gentleman is such an amazing man. He is an author, he is a motivator, he is a community advocate. Let me go ahead and just bring him on in. Hey, good morning, Brother Ipyani.
Good morning, Tiffany. How you doing today? How you doing?
Oh, I am fantastic. How are you? I'm so excited to have you on the show this morning.
Definitely blessed to be alive. I got another day, so grateful for that.
Amen. Amen. So, if Yanni, please just share with everyone. I know I touched a little bit on it, but just introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are, what you do out here, and just all your just brilliance and amazingness. Okay, just share who you are and what you do with everybody, please.
Well, definitely. You're too kind and very, very gracious with your words, sister. So greatly appreciate you. But my name is Ipyani Lockert. I have to say this first. I'm the firstborn child of Eddie and Sonia Lockert. My father was a huge foundation in my life, such as my mother still is. And I wouldn't be the man that I am without the models that I had, the unconditional love that I was raised in, and my brother and I as well, my brother Jelani Lockert. To tell you a little about myself, I was born and raised on the west side of San Bernardino. I'm a product of, and San Bernardino, the heart of the biggest county in the country, San Bernardino County. I always got to let people know that, right? And next door is the Riverside County, and together we're the Inland Empire. So I'm a product of the San Bernardino Unified School District. Then I eventually went to San Bernardino Valley College, and then transferred over to Cal State San Bernardino, where I graduated. Back in the day, it's been many moons, but go Yotes. So that's kind of my educational journey and shaping. What I do a multitude of things. One thing that I'm proud of is that I am the creator of motivational realizations, the energy of positive thought. It's my business about speaking towards the importance of having a positive outlook, as well as trying to help individuals shift their perspective on how to see the world that we each are surrounded by in a way that propels and motivates us to achieve, to live a life of meaning, to live a life of impact, to live a life of fulfillment and purpose.
Yes,
Definitely,
yes.
definitely.
And I love what you do in the community. And believe me, I'm watching. Sometimes I may not be able to get out there with you, but I am out there in spirit and I am watching what you do out there. And you just are amazing. You are a beacon of light in the community, in the Inland Empire and beyond. So tell us, because I know last time we had you on, we were doing the conference. You were helping to host the men's conference here that we had. And we just had so much going on. So what has changed for you since the last time that we've had you on the show? What's changed for you personally or professionally or both since the last time we spoke?
Many growth. That's one of the major change, right? Just to continue to grow and improve my skill sets. Yes, that was a wonderful event that we had for the men's conference. I remember you saying the next one's going to be in the Dominican Republic. So
Yeah.
looking forward to that one. You know what I mean? But yeah, wonderful experience. But what has changed in my life is just that I continue to grow in my professional work. My day job, I am a community organizer for a nonprofit. So learning how to be more efficient with my time, with my relationships, and the partnerships that I often have to utilize to do the advocacy that I do throughout my community and throughout the region of Southern California. Another thing that I'm really has grown exponentially is my photography business, Engaging Captures Caught, which is housed under my business, Motivational Realizations. That has
Yes.
been doing very, very well this year. Really, over the last 2 years, been doing very well. Where I'm getting more and more gigs. People are utilizing the imagery that I capture because sometimes nonprofits hire me, sometimes some school universities hire me to capture their summits and galas and conferences. I've also done birthday parties and quinceañeras and headshots, and I'm actually working on a photography project. It's kind of like my first photography project where I have a friend that's doing an anthology on mental health through poetry, and she asked me if I could get some portraits of African American community members that have struggled with a mental health diagnosis and do some black and
Mm,
white headshots or portrait shots. So
yeah.
I'm knocking that out. I just need to get about two more individuals that I have scheduled to capture their imagery. So that's been an honor that people are want to integrate one of my creative gifts into their creative gifts. So that's a lot of growth in there. That's a huge change because it's been generating some good income. As far as my poetry and my literary works, you know what? I need to really sit back and relax because it's been a really busy year for me. You know, I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to having December off where I can really formulate my plan on how to really push it, relaunch the books. I have had a couple of poetry features. One thing and I'm gonna have to pull up this piece. I would love to share this piece, but one thing
Yeah.
that happened in that time was I had submitted a piece. There's a California poet laureate. He was doing a project called Our California, where he was highlighting poets from all 58 counties here within the
Wow.
state of California. And luckily, I submitted, and I was one of the three poets that was selected to represent San Bernardino County. So that was a huge honor with this one poetry piece that I intend on reading a little later on today. Definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Wow. That
those
is
are the some of the
amazing.
growth
Oh,
and
that makes me
change. Yeah, or blessings. I like to say, I like to say blessings. But yeah, so yeah, still a lot of good
absolutely.
growth, but I still got more to do. I still got another day to try to grow better and stronger, dive the roots deeper. You know what I mean? Just another day to improve.
Like it's all about the growth, right?
Amen.
So share a little bit about the book that you have already published out there so everyone can learn about that and be able to also, grab that book as well because I know that's a very important topic.
Definitely, definitely. Well, the book that Miss Tiffany is referencing is my latest book on self-actualization. It's called Losing Weight, WAIT. Long story short, what are you waiting for? The time is now, right? But that book is formed upon like 7 concepts that I believe will really help people make positive decisions in where they utilize their energy and their gift of life in hopes of them manifesting the dreams and visions that we've each been given. Because I'm big on that. I know that I believe that everybody has been given a dream and vision, but that's not to tease you. That's to show you what's actually here for you on this planet and in this realm of life, within the gift of life. But the key thing is you have to be willing to render the efforts to manifest, right? Is a
Right.
saying, if wishes were horses, beggars would ride, right? So
Hmm.
we are given these dreams and we're given these visions to show us that, hey, the victory is ahead, but you have to render
Right.
the efforts. It makes me think of the Christian belief system, as in their religious texts, there's a passage that talks about faith without works, right? So
Hmm.
when I think about motivational realizations, it's a realization that motivates you to spur, to render effort, to move, to do an action, right? Because it's so key. So losing weight is about trying to encourage people to self-actualize, to manifest their dreams and visions. So that's a little short and skinny about that my latest literary work. And it's been doing good. I haven't been tabling as much because I wear so many hats in the
Right.
community that I might have to actually hire somebody to help me PR and market. or I just need to learn how to utilize this AI a little better because you could AI can do so much. So I got to learn how to utilize that from a market.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It
Because
really
the
can.
tools are here. I just got to pick them up and learn them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. So
That's
yeah,
right. That's right. So,
so yeah.
you just said it. You wear so many hats. So, how do you balance it all? What does self-care look like for Ipyani? Because I know when people are juggling a lot of stuff, sometimes they hit that burnout very, very quickly.
Mm.
So, how do you find balance in it all?
You know what? For me, great question, and I'm big on that balance and self care and self love. For me, that's my health regimen. I normally walk about 6 miles each day, each morning, at least six out of 7 days out of the week, right? That's what keeps me grounded. I am an early bird, so I like to get it done in the morning. I just feel like that's the way I've always been. You know, my mom, when I was in high school and my mom was still teaching in the Rialto Unified School District, we used to wake up early in the morning and go to this park in Rialto called Frisbee Park. And we used to walk, and
Mhm.
that's like 30 25 27 years ago. So walking and exercising has always been something that keeps me grounded, that allows me
Yeah.
to reflect. I'm a two bird one stone kind of person. Like I remember when I was a tax preparer for H&R Block, I used to study the materials while I was walking, right? I've
Oh,
written
wow.
poetry. I actually wrote losing weight while I was walking, the concepts and this fleshing it out, so walking
Yeah.
is very key to me for my mental health, for my sanity, and for balance, right? And then
Yeah.
also defining clear boundaries, right? I
That's
know that
huge.
in this world is if you don't, I'll say it like this. When it comes to what we have to do to manifest and provide for a living, you got to you have to do certain things if you want a roof over your head, if you want resources, if you want access to certain things, and if you're
Hmm.
lucky, have a little disposable income. I'm not that lucky yet, but I meet my needs, right? But you have to have balance, right? Because we're working and that work is often manifesting someone else's dream and vision, but we
Hmm.
often sometimes put ours on the back burner, right? But our time is
Right.
limited here. So I try to make sure I have clear boundaries between what I do for my employer and then making sure that I carve out the time for what I'm doing for my dream and my vision, because I am the steward of that vision and those dreams, right? They will not
Right.
manifest if I don't do the work that I need to be doing. So that's knowing with that kind of framing that allows me to focus on my health because that's key, right? And this
Right.
your fitness,
Health is your
right?
wealth.
It
That's right.
it all flows from the temple. So the better my belief is that the better that we are internally, the better the
Hmm.
external experience will be. So that's how I carve out self-care and then creativity, right? I feel like
Yeah.
it's the greatest gift that we've been given, only second to the breath of life, right? The
That's right.
so with that, I like to create via words, via poetry, as well as photography, right? And then to me,
Yeah.
I enjoy cooking as well, and cooking to me is a amazing creative outlet as well. I often tell people like you could get hot Cheetos and marshmallows and eat it if you like. You might be the only person eating it, but you can do it. You know what I mean? It's like it's no limitations in in,
Right.
in many of these outlets and mediums. So I love creativity, and when I'm being creative, that's what I do when I really feel stagnant. I try to create. I try to manifest something, and it lifts
Yeah.
my spirit. It feeds my soul.
See, I love how you mix the two. You're mixing, the walking, which when you're exercising, all those feel good hormones are going, and you got those endorphins flowing, and it's amazing how creative you can be when you are in that mode, right? And
Yeah,
I love
totally.
that you're creating as you're doing that, because I know for me, it's a little bit harder for me to create when I am in that mode because I'm just in that mode, right? I'm not,
Mm,
the things are coming to me, but I'm not trying to write it down. Now, I'm listening to you because you are inspiring me to get a video or a recorder and just voice it,
mm.
you know,
There you go.
as
There's
those
many ways
as
to
those
skin the
ideas
cat.
are coming, just voice it and just, yeah, yeah.
Definitely. Documentation is key because sometimes you get that brilliant idea that just comes out of nowhere. And then if you don't write it down or record it some kind of way, and
It's
it'll go
gone.
just like that. And it's like, man, what was that? I can't remember, you know. It's like, so it's so important to document our thoughts and idea. Speaking towards not just that, but the importance of journaling where we can reflect and
Yes.
see what kind of mind, what kind of perspective we were at certain seasons in our life. It to me,
Mm-hmm.
when you journal, you really can see that internal growth, right? Because
Absolutely.
the way I would normally say it, sister, is like, um, and I was raised in the Christian faith, but I see value in all the faith practices that are held within our world, and I pray that everyone gets to their desired destination beyond the veil of death, right? But with that being said, in the Christian tradition, it's so much power in the tongue, right? Is what we
Mm-hmm.
speak over ourselves, how we see ourselves. So I'm big on people speaking life into their life, speaking love into
Mm-hmm.
your love. We are all worthy of love, but sometimes, in my opinion, our greatest battle in this lived experience is that of our own mindset.
So
Battling
true.
our own negative thoughts. Knowing that some of
Mm-hmm.
that stuff has been conditioned and programming and negative stereotypes perpetuated, especially in this country, in the United States, right?
Right.
So it's so
Mm-hmm.
important that we speak life into our life, that we see ourselves and reflect honestly on our shortcomings, our victories, and where we can improve because we can't
Right.
build on sin. And that's a reference from the Bible, right? You have to have a solid
That's right.
foundation. And that solid foundation, in my opinion, must be you and your belief in yourself and knowing that you are worthy and capable of doing great
Mm-hmm.
things. If you don't see it, if you the way I also say it, if and let me start with the way my dad would say it, and then the way my little
Yeah.
spin. But my dad would often say, "The man that thinks he can and the man that thinks he can't, they're both right." So that just speaks to
Mm-hmm.
the importance of perspective. And like I tell people like this, I say if you see things as impossible, the battle
Mm-hmm.
is lost. A defeated mind knows no victory. So if you see it as impossible, you're not going to render the efforts to manifest. But if you see it as possible, it might be a long shot and it might be like, a needle in the haystack. But if it's possible to find that needle and then you are rendering the efforts, if you're starting to move the straw, have a
Right.
creative system, get a pile. Don't look at the whole big pile of straw. Pull a little mound of straw, slide it out. Have a method, have a methodology, have a system. But if you're willing to render efforts, you will find that. You will manifest
Mm-hmm.
that. And so that just speaks towards the importance of perspective and having a
Yeah.
positive perspective and outlook, speaking life into your life. And most
Mm-hmm.
importantly, the key part of motivational realizations is to move the energy of positive thought, to expend and expel the energy necessary or render the efforts necessary to manifest because it's all possible. It is all
All
possible.
of it. All of it. Amen. It is all possible, y'all. So get out there and start manifesting your dreams. Write them down. Ooh, I love it. I love it. Look, I'll tell you, when I'm like working with my clients, I'll have them write down the food that they eat and write
Yeah.
down what happened during the day. Just spill it all out. Every time you will know why you overate or why you
Mm,
gained a little bit of weight in that week because you go back and you look at the journal and you're like, oh, dang, I was fighting with my spouse. Oh, the kids were
uh,
acting up. Oh, I had that project at work that that deadline, all this
I hear
stuff
you.
going on. And you over
Yeah,
here eating stuff that you ain't supposed to
yeah.
because it's we're like, most of us are emotional eaters. Let's just say it. So,
Yeah, you know what? I know that sometimes stress can induce. Stress can be a terrible thing in all of our lives, right? Because it also could
absolutely.
build up that cortisone in your arteries, right? So
Hmm.
it's important to find things to de-stress you, right?
Right.
Sometimes for people that is food, but everything in moderation and balance, right? I'm a diabetic, so I'm not
Mhm.
supposed to eat sugar, but sugar is, they say, is more addictive than drugs, right? So I do
Right.
have some sugar now and then, but like I tell people, it's like you can have a slice of cake, but you can't eat the whole cake. You know what I
Thank
mean?
you.
Get
Thank
you a little
you.
slice, get a taste and enjoy it. Slow down, savor it, enjoy it. You know what I mean? Get your glass of ice cold
Right.
milk. For me, well, I don't even drink milk like that. Ice cold coconut milk now, because
Right.
my dad
Okay.
was the one that loved milk. But I rarely have milk nowadays. It's like you'll rarely find a gallon of milk in our refrigerator, but you will find coconut milk. So yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
just about
Mm-hmm.
you
The
got to
better
treat
option.
yourself
That's the
too.
better option.
You got
Yeah,
to
you
treat
do.
yourself,
You
but
do.
balance.
Right. Right. All in moderation. All in
Yes, indeed.
moderation.
Yes, indeed. Totally, totally.
So
I'm
what
still
has
working
been
on
the
that.
hardest? Okay, look. I think even as a health coach, sometimes you look. I told you about my living situation, okay? Trying to get this
Yeah,
relocation, this international relocation done.
yeah.
Sometimes some days are better than others. So I'll even look in my own journal and be like, ooh, Tiff, wait a second, what was going look, we know what was going on. Now you just better cut it out. Okay.
I hear you. I hear you. It's like sometimes you gotta slap yourself on the wrist, like stop that. No,
Exactly.
you know better. They say you know better, you do better, but easier said than done sometimes.
So, Ipyani, what's been the hardest part of this journey so far for you? I mean, journey as an author, journey as a community,
Mm.
influencer, just, with everything that you're doing. What has been the hardest part of this journey so far?
It's funny because we were kind of talking about this on the radio station last night.
Mhm.
For me, it's not the hardest part, but it's a part that I want to continue to improve on, and that's being more intentional with my self care and my self love. And that
Mhm.
means the better me taking better care of the temple. When I say temple, mind, body, spirit, and soul, making sure that I
Mhm.
am feeding each aspect of myself with
Mhm.
creativity, with the health regimen, but just feeding my spirit, making sure that I continue to sharpen my mind. So to me, it's growth can be a challenge, but at the same time too, growth can is what I desire, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sometimes it's like, I say it like this, sometimes they say if you cast the seeds on the rocks, they will not grow, but sometimes they do. A
Yeah.
prime example is the roads through concrete, right? Sometimes
Mhm.
growth can be challenging because you may not be in the right place or have all the desired nutrients, but the roots and the design of the seed is designed to grow. So if you just stay determined and focus and render the efforts to continue to grow those roots until you find a source of nutrients, if you continue to branch up towards the sun and get through the soil to allow your leaves to open to receive those helpful rays that nourish you and grow us. Life in general can be challenging, but
Right.
life that spoils the experiences that we feel in life can be so rewarding and so fulfilling. So for me, the greatest challenge is life itself, as we all try to navigate this course, especially with so many happenings within this country, as it
Yeah.
seems to be a really intentional effort to erase the contributions of all the people of this nation here in America, as well as limit and silence free thought, free speech,
Mhm.
people able to share their perspectives and lived experiences to try to not validate those things. It's we live in some really unsettling and potentially very dangerous times as well, right? We've just had like five mass shootings within like a 24-hour window in this country, and it's almost normalized. That's very unique to this country. You don't
Mhm.
see other countries that have people going and shooting up schools, killing children almost on a daily basis. It's a mass shooting in America every day. It has been thus far this year, right? And
Right.
and 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 we're not. It's really sad, and I just think we have to do a better job of one loving one another. Easier said than done, but
Right.
I look at the programming and conditioning of our nation. Why is it that we have this fixation on punitive measures on murder, right? Why is it that always the go-to for this country is murder, theft and murder and exploitation? My hypothesis is that because that's what this country was founded on, genocide and exploitation, right? So knowing that framing to try to carve out a life of meaning, of purpose, a semblance of dignity and humanity as a person of color, knowing how this land was built and knowing they're trying to constantly erase the contributions of not only my people, our people, but of all people of that are melanated of color. And it's very disturbing and sad. So it makes me want to dive deeper into my roots, show the
Right.
beauty of my people, the essence of our amazing melanin and our abilities of creativity and innovation and just to be the best me, to show that hey, we are not who you say we are greater than, and we will never be limited by that of man's thoughts or man's hands, because our spirit is divine and it comes from a place that you
Man.
may not even
Amen.
see. Just the way you conduct yourself, you may not even see this place because you can have it here on earth. And I see many that don't attain that. I don't know where this hate comes from. I don't really
Yeah.
know where this hate comes from, and I don't want to dive super deep in that, but that's something that's been on my spirit as of late,
Yeah.
and it's sad that it's sad times, but blessed to be
Yeah.
alive and another opportunity to do
Absolutely.
better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think if more of us just focus on doing better, we can all be better. You know.
Amen.
You're right.
Amen.
Yeah. It's just man. So, what's some words of wisdom, words of encouragement that you can give somebody out there that might be wanting to, share their story, share their creativity, and they're really just kind of, they're unsure. What's some words of
Mhm.
encouragement, the words of wisdom you can provide to them just to help them to get on the other side so they can show up and shine in the world?
One of my slogans, and I just pulled it up. It's like pinned on my Instagram. But this is something that I share with the audience, and my words of encouragement to anyone out there that's looking to manifest something, their dream or their vision or something that will better their lives or that of their families. And the saying is, don't fear the journey. Fear not finding the courage to set out upon your own. You know, and so often we get so caught up about what it could take and what this and that, what I might have to do, and
Mm,
we overcomplicate it where we don't even move. It's like what is it? Paralysis by option paralysis. We see and think of things and make them so grandiose that we don't render the effort. So to me, it's like find the courage and strength to try, to render the
right.
effort. And my father would say it like, "Hey, Yanni, everything you want could be right there, right around that corner. But if you don't find the courage and strength to move forward, you'll never
Hmm.
discover what's there." So, and then he will also say, if you go down a path and it's not manifesting or bringing you what you desire, you can always turn around. But if you
That's
just
right.
stand in that same place, hoping and wishing, it's like how I said earlier. If wishes were horses, beggars would ride. Nothing will manifest from efforts that are not rendered. So find the courage and strength to believe in yourself, to love yourself,
Yes.
and believe
Mm,
that that vision is divinely orchestrated. And all you have to do is do your part. And your part is to render the efforts, utilize the tools at your disposal, and build that dream and vision that you've been given. And it's all possible. Think about when the Wright brothers were talking about flying. They laughed at these people, right?
right.
Flying. Look at all these innovations. Many, the masses said it couldn't be, but the few had the belief and they were willing to learn and work and figure it out. And now we have some
Hmm.
of the fastest planes in the on the globe, right? Well,
Right.
China is kind of beating us to it now, but we have some of the most amazing aircrafts. And let me not break it down like that. As humanity, we are very creative, and many people
Absolutely.
don't believe or may not believe or see the vision that you have. But as long as you believe it and you see it and you define
Hmm.
that path and you walk down that path, you render the efforts, it will be. We are capable of doing great things.
That's right. That's right. Amen. So I know, Ipyani, you had a excerpt that you wanted to share with us before we end today. Did you find that?
Yes, yes. And let
Oh,
me pull it up
perfect.
real quick. And this is
Yeah.
like this was the poetry piece that I was referencing a little earlier that I had the pleasure of the California Poet Laureate allowing me to represent San Bernardino County once again, the biggest county in the country. And it was definitely an honor, and I definitely need to sit down and write and be more creative. Like I've been talking with some of my poetry sisters, and life be life, and you know what I mean. But I need to
Right.
make sure, like I tell people all the time, you make space for the things you want to do, and I need
Yeah,
to
you do.
be intentional with carving out the space for this creative outlet and creative gift that I've been given. So here's the piece. I do love you. I do desire you. I do long for you. I truly do. Yet I cannot fight you for your love. I have to fight with each given day, not only for my humanity and life, for my very existence. Fighting to be a man, fighting for my manhood to be recognized and respected, fighting for space, just to dwell within, just to breathe within, just to be. Fighting for my voice, not even to be heard, just simply to express myself as myself, just to be me. Fighting systems constructed for my destruction, the authoring of my demise, fighting rules of law formed for my failing, fighting for food that nourishes me, not priming me for cancer, fighting for air, pure, crisp, and fresh, yet warehouses built around me as they warehouse me, fighting to move freely and unrestricted, yet I am chained and bounded. I fight these shackles. I fight these imposed limitations. I fight these short sighted views upon my very life, upon my potential, upon my very destiny. I fight, I battle, I crusade, not for bloodlust, for my bloodline, not for conquest, for my surrender, not for spoils, for my necessities. I fight, such as my father, such as his father, such as the fathers of all fathers, and I will continue to fight, for this is what has been destined. This is where I have been placed, and this is the why, and this is the win. Victory, victorious such as my predecessors, victorious such as my ancestry, victorious such as my lineage and legacy, victorious such as my nature, such as my calling, such as my destiny, until glory calls yet again. I cannot fight you for your love. I am heavy burdened. I am restless and weary. I am gravely wounded. I have fought to make it here. I was guided here, an inaudible voice, maybe that of my soul or souls beyond the veil, leading me, beckoning me to crawl or stumble towards this fold, this dimension, this realm between life and death, whispering through me to call upon the angels. It says that there is healing within their touch, that there is mending within their love, with the ability to renew and create anew. Delusional I may be, I have lost so much blood. I see my time has come upon nearing horizons. I wish I could be as free as these tears welling forth from my eyes, yet I am only a man. My time set within limits. A sun rises and a sun sets. I am here in limbo, resting upon my back, witnessing the opening of the skies. I fear, mustering the last of my consciousness and waning strength, pouring forth of a spirit from the spirited soul of a dying temple. I scream to the angels, am I not worthy of your grace? Have I not honored your will? Each test, task, and errand assigned, have I not vanquished? Have I not succeeded? Have I not overcome? I cannot fight you for your love. I am only a man. I cannot ascend to the heavens. A wise and cunning design, this separation between you and I. Much destruction lays within the wake of man once treasures are gained and within hand. Surely this is of your knowing, as we both know the nature of man. If we were able to rise into the heavens, ravaging chaos would surely ensue. And that is not the love that I am seeking. That would be forcefully taken. No healing can be found in that. I cannot fight you for your love, for your mending touch, for your loving embrace, which heals the brokenness of man. You must descend from the heavens and fall upon the earth. I cannot fight you for your love. You must bless me. This is the last yearning prayer of a dying temple. Faithful steward clothed in man. Am I worthy? By Ipyani Lockert. Motivational Realizations, the energy of positive thought.
Mm, mm. Look, you got sister over here got chills. Okay, that is powerful.
Thank you, sister.
Wow, wow, wow. No, that
Thank you.
that is a well deserved recognition. That
It was
yes,
a blessing.
yes,
I was so
yes.
it was such a blessing, and just such as yourself, Tiffany. We don't see ourselves. Like I say, I think when you came onto the radio station, I think we had this similar conversation where we talked about we don't see ourselves. So we don't know what others see when they look upon us. I just see the tasks and the goals and the things that I said, and I keep moving. But we should always take time to reflect and know that our lives are meant to touch other lives, and that we are touching more lives than we'll ever realize or know. I've had some strangers walk up to me and call me like, "Aren't you motivational realizations? Like I read your poetry, right?" And I haven't wrote in a minute, right? But this to think that there's people out there that are reading our works, our books, and
Yes.
what we have
Yes.
manifested and set the sail within this gift of life, and they see value in that. It lifts their spirits, it touches their soul, it may warm their heart, it may encourage them in dark times. It's
Right.
truly a blessing. It really is. Life is really a blessing, even with its challenges, the ups and downs, the
Even
peaks and
with it.
valleys. It truly is a
Right.
gift, and it was a once in a lifetime gift, from my perspective, what I believe.
It is. It is. It really is. I cannot agree with you more. And, us going through and navigating through life and getting through some of the struggles and being able to speak on that really does help others just understand that, hey, we
Mm.
all move through some of the same stuff. You
Hmm.
just got to get through it. You just got to stay positive. It's all about the mindset, right?
Amen.
And if you have
Word
that
up.
positive mindset like you and I do, where we're like, you know what? We just got to go through this. We know there's something else on the other side. We know that
Amen.
we're just being challenged for, there's a purpose behind it. So
Definitely.
I
Definitely.
commend just what you do. And again, congratulations. Keep showing up and shining, man, and just keep on just
Thank you, sister.
motivating people the way you do. Again, I see you, my brother, and I want everybody out there to also see you. So please let everybody know how they can connect with you, and
Yes.
if they can follow you, all that good stuff, and if they want you, for their photography, how they can
Totally.
connect with you and work with you.
Definitely, definitely. Well, you could go to my website, motivational realizations with a S.com. You can find me there. You can also purchase some of my books there. I Am Living Dreams, Motivational Poetry, Volume 1 and 2 are available there. I'm compiling poetry pieces for Volume 3. You can also find my latest literary offering, Losing Weight, WAIT, on my website, or you can find all those books on Amazon as well. I have a very unique name. My name is Ipyani. Ipyani, last name Lockert, Lockert. You can type that name in on Facebook or Instagram and follow me there. If you're interested in my photography services, I have a page that I've created on Facebook called Engaging Captures Caught. You can follow that page as well, or message me if you're interested in my photography services. I have very affordable rates, and I have a 24-hour turnaround time, but normally I can get the photos processed and edit within 24 hours. So quick turnaround time. I think that's why the universities and some of these nonprofits hired me, because they want to share their content and media real quick. So
Right.
I get it back to them real quick at a affordable rate. So yeah, so those are ways that you can connect with me. If you just search my name, Ipyani, you're sure to find me, because I only met another quick story. There's a brother by the name of Ipyani Grant. His name is spelled the exact same way as mine. He's from New York. I'm out here in California, and we connected on Instagram. We talked about wanting to meet, do an Instagram live one day, because our names are so unique, and this how his lived experience. But he was told that his name meant graceful warrior, and I was told that my name means grace. So we both landed on the grace aspect, right? So it's very interesting. So if you type in
That is.
Ipyani, Ipyani, it's only going to be either him or I that pop up, at least in the continent of United States of America. I should say North America, not the.
So look, so y'all, he ain't hard to find, okay? Just type in Ipyani.
I'm outside.
I want to thank you so much for coming and joining me today and just catching up, just, being able to
Yeah.
see, just find out more of the amazing things that you got going on, the stuff that, is coming up as well. I'm just excited just to have you in my life. I can't wait to have you come out to the Dominican Republic when we do
Hey
that
now.
conference. I will keep y'all posted on that for
Yes,
sure. So
indeed.
everyone, I want to thank you so much for joining us today on this Authors Network Spotlight with Ipyani Lockert. Definitely connect with him because you want that inspiration. You need that encouragement and that inspiration and motivation in your life. So connect. We love you so much, and we'll definitely see you next time. Take care,
Love you as
everybody.
well.